Tonight, outrage over immigration enforcement raids at 2 California farms, and one of those raids is now tied to a man's death. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Tonight, we are learning more about some of the people picked up in those raids that unfolded in Santa Barbara and Ventura counties, as union officials tonight are confirming that one farm worker has died after falling from a roof during one of those operations yesterday. Several other people were injured. As Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reports tonight, many families say they still don't know where their loved ones are.
A rally outside Oxnard City Hall denouncing the federal enforcement at a Camarillo licensed marijuana grower, where this morning people lined up saying they were trying to locate loved ones like this woman's aunt.
She was working here yesterday and we haven't heard anything about her.
Ventura County Fire confirming they transported 8 people, including farm workers like Jaime Alanis, who seemingly fell off a roof as he fled from agents. His family and the United Farms Workers Union confirming that he was pulled off life support and is now dead. The Department of Homeland Security confirming on their side they executed a criminal search warrant at the Glass House Farms, arresting about 200 immigrants suspected of being in the country illegally. They also posted this image of 10 minors, describing them as, quote, illegal aliens, 8 of them unaccompanied. Glass House responding in a statement that it, quote, never knowingly violated applicable hiring practices and does not and has never employed minors. Other people seemingly arrested in the chaotic face-off between federal agents outside the facility and protesters is Guadalupe Torres' husband. She says George Retis is a disabled, retired veteran who works as a security guard at the facility.
They wouldn't let him through, so when they started throwing the smoke bombs, he started reversing, but like I said, the smoke was too thick that to the point that he couldn't see anything reversing. So he stopped. They broke his car window right there, pepper sprayed him in the car.
He got caught in the protest and ICE detained him because they thought he was part of the protest and he was just driving through, a normal U.S. citizen.
Back at the rally,
every tear gas canister fired, that just makes us stronger. There is nothing that they can do. There's no amount of technology, there's no amount of these less than lethal weapons that they can throw at us that will make us weaker. They only make us stronger. Is that right?
And that was Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reporting tonight. Farmers and farm workers across California say they fear that there is a lot of fear in the community, and it is growing as news about those raids in Southern California continues to spread. Migrant advocates along the San Mateo County coast in Northern California say they're talking to many people who fear that they could be targeted by ICE. Nonprofit legal services groups say they continue offering assistance to those who are unsure what to do next.
Visiting the farms on a regular basis, providing resources, continuing to educate our farm working community about their rights, the rapid response line, how it works.
Advocates also urge observers to keep a close eye on ICE agents if they do witness enforcement operations. They say lawsuits could be filed down the line if people's rights are being violated. A federal judge has just ordered the Trump administration to halt indiscriminate immigration stops in Southern California. Yesterday, attorneys representing some California workers asked the judge for a temporary restraining order to end what they believe are unlawful stops and arrests, arguing that agents are targeting people based on perceived race and ethnicity. The Department of Homeland Security has denied those claims of unlawful practices or racial profiling. This ruling did come down just minutes ago. We have reached out to the Trump administration for a comment on this decision from the judge, and we are still waiting for a response. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has issued a new executive directive that's aimed at supporting immigrant communities. Mayor Bass signed that directive today. She says this will help to make city workers more aware of how to address immigration officials if they do approach city properties.
This is not so much about them attempting to enter City Hall, and I've not heard any situation where that could happen. But in the library, it certainly could. And but the point is that, and in the way we're really trying to organize ourselves now as we try to figure out this situation, is if you're in a building, then you can deny them coming in, especially there's no warrants. They have to present a specific type of warrant, but that's not what we're seeing.
Mayor Bass says she's also demanding federal agencies hand over information about people who've been detained during these raids and how much the raids are costing taxpayers. Wildlife protection groups are suing the Trump administration, trying to stop further construction of the border wall in Arizona. The Center for Biological Diversity says it's trying to protect the jaguar and the ocelot that cross this area. Advocates say the Department of Homeland Security's waiver to override 30 laws, such as the Endangered Species Act and the National Environmental Policy Act, violates the Constitution.
DHS is trying to sidestep environmental and public protection laws to rush border wall construction. And this is through one of the most ecologically important corridors in North America.
Some people, though, living near the border say they have seen crossings plummet during the Trump administration and they want the wall completed. DHS cites illegal immigration reform and the Immigrant Responsibility Act as justification. Well, some business owners in Las Vegas say immigration enforcement operations are hurting their bottom line. Fox 5's Carla Salinas spoke with them about some of the challenges they're facing.
As immigration enforcement efforts intensify across the country, fear is growing in many communities. In Las Vegas, Hispanic business owners say that fear is keeping customers away.
It is a big decline. People are terrified to go out.
At Esmeralda's Cafe, the lunch rush isn't what it used to be. Manager Rene Bustamente says the restaurant has lost about 60% of customers in recent weeks.
We have few customers and they leave thinking that they're gonna be deported or anything like that.
He tells us things got worse after a customer walked in announcing immigration agents had been spotted just blocks away.
It was in shock because everybody got really scared and they left without saying anything, and then it's a little frustrating.
Now he says most of the business comes from takeout orders, with customers too afraid to dine in, and inside the kitchen he's working with a fraction of his usual staff.
They left because of the situation. We only have one or two employees.
A few miles away, Surtimax Mexican Market is facing the same problem. Manager Yuridia Ramirez says many customers are now requesting home deliveries.
So our business is mostly Hispanic people, and right now we're struggling a little bit because they don't want to come out. Our sales have dropped drastically.
The market even added extra security after customers asked for locked doors.
We got an automatic lock just to make sure that the business is safe for people who are undocumented to come in.
The Nevada Restaurant Association says the fear is rippling across the valley, and even those with legal status are now too afraid to show up to work.
TPS, DACA, asylum applications, work authorized visas, those are still being threatened under this administration.
Carla Salinas, Fox 5 News Local, Las Vegas.
Today, mourners gather to honor another Idaho firefighter who was killed in an ambush. Today's funeral for Battalion Chief Frank Harwood was private. The public, though, paid their respects by lining the streets in this area during the funeral procession. Battalion Chiefs John Morrison and Frank Harwood were both shot to death last month. Investigators say a man set a fire and then ambushed those firefighters as they rushed to fight the flames. Search teams found the suspect's body in some nearby woods. Battalion Chief Morrison's funeral was held yesterday. Authorities say extreme fire behavior has forced the evacuation of the north rim of the Grand Canyon. Hot, dry, and windy conditions are fueling the white sage fire in this area. It was a lightning strike that started the fire on Wednesday. It's now grown to more than 10,000 acres tonight, and authorities say so far they have no containment on this fire. Satellite images are picking up images of several wildfires in Utah and Colorado. One of them is in the southeast part of Utah and that fire has already destroyed 9 homes. Fox 13's Jeremy Toms talked with people in the small town of LaSalle who say they're struggling to make sense of the destruction in their community.
The Deer Creek fire, which sparked in the community of Old LaSalle Thursday afternoon, continues to burn without containment. Fire officials say it raced towards the Colorado border yesterday and quickly ballooned up to 4,000 acres, an estimate that still holds right now. We got an update from fire officials this morning who tell us in the overnight hours, the fire did not get any easier to tackle.
It was very active till about 4 o'clock this morning. Lots of embers flying, preheating the vegetation ahead of itself. It was even coming back towards some of the structures in the areas that we had structure protection on last night.
Kaylee Guild with FFSL says crews from Moab to Monticello have battled this from the air and on the ground. They're hopeful winds will die down today and the canyon country terrain may provide some natural fuel breaks to support the efforts of their crews. Elsewhere, the LaSalle Store or Ease Market is starting to accept cash and physical donations for their fellow community members in need. Locals fear several homes are gone.
I mean, we lost some structures, some houses, some animals, and we do have a free box outside that you can bring any kind of household goods, clothing, any kind of children's items. Well, that would mean the world to me if people would come in. I mean, this is a really hard time for our community. And
the LaSalle Community Center has also become a focal point for serving those in need. They have gotten a couple of shipments in this morning from the Utah Food Bank in Blanding and are handing out boxes of food and cases of water, both to first responders on the scene and to families who've been displaced. They say if anyone's seeing this and they'd like to help, they would gladly accept any food, water, or other essentials here at the Community Center. We'll bring you the latest as soon as we can, but for now, in LaSalle, Jeremy Toms, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And the Deer Creek fire has now grown to more than 7,000 acres in Utah since it started yesterday. There is no containment on that fire, and the cause is under investigation still. Another wildfire in Utah is now regaining strength. Strong winds pushed the Forsyth fire through a lot of brush overnight. Firefighters say the hot, dry conditions today have been a real challenge. A lightning strike started this fire in southwest Utah back on June 19th. More than 15,000 acres of brush have burned so far, and right now the fire is 58% contained.
We've been talking about fires and floods, and how about heat right there, right now? Your Pacific Northwest forecast and your entire West Coast wrap outlook is coming up.
Also coming up tonight, police officers in Hawaii narrowly avoid being hit by an out-of-control car. What they're hoping you'll learn from these scary moments that were caught on camera. Plus,
it's a surreal scene. It looked like something out of a Hollywood movie.
People jumping from windows trying to escape this raging fire in Oregon. Tonight, witnesses describe a confrontation that happened before this apartment building went up in flames. A close call in Hawaii caught on camera. Police officers in Honolulu were able to dodge an out-of-control car last night. They were working to clear a freeway hazard when that car careened right in their direction. It hit a guardrail and a police car before coming to a stop. Police officers are hoping this video will remind all drivers to slow down and use caution whenever they are approaching emergency vehicles. Tonight, one person has been detained for questioning in connection with a 4-alarm fire that injured 2 people at an apartment building in East Portland early this morning. As Fox 12's Dylan Scott shows us, residents here say it's a miracle nobody was killed.
It is truly a miracle that everyone is okay here. You can see the immense damage caused by the flames to the front of this apartment complex on East Burnside and 104th. People living in the building tell us Friday morning it was a frantic scene. You can even see these blood-soaked footprints on the concrete here as people were trying to get away from the fire. Now investigators are trying to figure out what exactly happened here.
Just a surreal scene. It looked like something out of a Hollywood movie.
It was a 6 a.m. wake-up call David Richards never thought he'd receive. A 4-alarm fire engulfed his apartment building and injured 2 people living there. Firefighters had to rescue 8 more, and at least a dozen others have no home to return to.
No casualties. That's a blessing for sure. I'm thankful for that.
The cause of the fire is still unknown and the investigation is ongoing. However, those on scene told Fox 12 Oregon they believe it started when, following a confrontation, a disgruntled man threw what looked like a burning bottle into the complex, igniting a blaze that would take more than 80 firefighters from several different engine companies to put it out.
Just a lot of yelling and raising of big voices so everybody can hear, pounding on doors. I was actually, when I was running, going down in my stairwell, I was like screaming, fire, fire, fire.
I was on my way home and I just seen the flames and I was like, I think that's a unit next to us. I thought it was this apartment complex and it wasn't. And then I got here closer and I was like, those are my units. And I immediately thought about my neighbor. So I called my brother to make sure he was okay. And then I called my other neighbor to make sure he was okay.
The Red Cross and other local agencies are on scene to aid those displaced, continue the investigation, and lead cleanup efforts. People like Richards, who have lived there for more than 6 years, say they're still shaken by this early morning fire.
Get to know your neighbors and build that rapport because you never know who's gonna do something like this, because it's really a scary thing.
Investigators tell us one man was taken into custody as Portland Fire and Rescue try to determine an exact cause. They're asking anyone with information on this incident to please come forward. Reporting in Northeast Portland, Dylan Scott, Fox 12 Oregon.
Turning now to talk about our weather here in the West, and it was another day of temperatures well into the triple digits in many parts of the Southwest today. This is a live look tonight at downtown Phoenix where the sun is setting, but it is still quite hot here, and people in the Phoenix area are being warned not to expect any relief over this upcoming weekend. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez, who is tracking this serious heat across the West. Roberta?
At least it wasn't as hot as yesterday or the day before that. It was 111 today in Phoenix. Did not get close to that record of 118 established back in 1958, and the average high there is 107. Other notable numbers, how about Tucson at 106 degrees, 112 in Palm Springs. And as you take a look at Los Angeles there at 75 degrees, you typically should be in the low 80s this time of the year. It was in the mid 80s. In San Jose, that's 5 degrees above average. San Francisco, you were pretty spot on for this time of the year. We had a spring of triple digits anywhere from Sacramento all the way into Redding and in Red Bluff, where we do have unhealthy air quality at this hour. Now, earlier when you were listening to Alex talk about conditions around the Grand Canyon, that is where we do have a red flag warning in effect, as well as dangerous heat around especially the north rim of the Grand Canyon. And then you take a look out towards the Pacific Northwest, in that northwestern quadrant of the state of California. That's where we also are experiencing those temperatures I just shared with you. 108, 109 Redding and in Red Bluff, Del Norte and also Humboldt counties with the dangerous heat. The same story for the red flag warning across other portions of Northern California. So let's head to Seattle now, where the average is 81 and you surpass that. You were an overachiever today in Seattle. Meanwhile, this is just one of the suburbs outside of the San Francisco area due east. This is Mount Diablo, and I wanted to share this with you because you could see the haze there. We do have a spare the air day. Well, not really. It's a Bay Area Air Quality Management District Air Quality Advisory. Yeah. There's haze, and that's what they're seeing in the Bay Area. 22 miles off the shore of Los Angeles, there you have beautiful Catalina Island. It was 81 in Los Angeles, it was 70 in Avalon. And meanwhile, again, in Phoenix, 111 degrees with some nice cumulus clouds ahead of hopefully some monsoonal moisture that should be developing. There you had 106 in Las Vegas for a current air temperature. We do have that bank of cloudiness along the seashore. It'll hang tight to the entire coastline of California, pushing on shore before retreating, revealing ample sunshine to the north, 80s and 90s. Wow. Well above average. Concord tomorrow at 86 degrees. So these temperatures are coming down from the past 48 hours. There you have the extended forecast for the weekend. 94, Alex, by Sunday in Denver.
Okay, Roberta, thank you. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a hiker's heart-pounding run-in with a mountain lion caught on camera. What the woman did that allowed her to escape this encounter unhurt. Plus, an often unseen eye in the sky, how police here in the West are turning to drones to help track wanted suspects.
All time watching them, never once saw him look back and try to look around to see if there was anything in the air.
Some police officers in Colorado say drones are giving them the upper hand in fighting crime. Fox 31's Vicente Arenas shows us how the technology can prevent suspects from knowing they're being pursued.
High in the sky over Commerce City, a police department drone is watching what police said was a stolen motorcycle. Moments earlier, a license plate reader alerted the department saying it had spotted stolen plates on the bike. Police on the ground chose not to chase, but instead called on one of their drones to follow that driver.
With the drone overhead following, most times the stolen vehicle operator doesn't know that we're watching them. And that decreases the risk to the community, keeps speeds down, and we can put together a plan to safely arrest that person.
The drone was able to lead police to where the motorcycle driver parked at a trailer park near Highway 2 and East 72nd Avenue. Sergeant Rick Irwin was piloting the drone, which police say the driver never saw.
The whole time watching him, never once saw him look back, try to look around to see if there was anything in the air.
CCPD says the driver was a convicted felon with warrants and that he was caught with a weapon, drugs, and of course a stolen motorcycle. Many police believe drones are a game changer when it comes to catching suspects.
Much more cost effective, very quick, easy deployment.
CCPD has several of the drones stationed throughout the city. They're operated from a central command and can be called into service at a moment's notice. In this particular case, a driver did not live at the park where he stowed the stolen motorcycle. He peeked around a corner, but never at the sky, where police had been watching him in plain sight.
And that was Fox 31's Vicente Arenas reporting. Commerce City Police say using drones in this way is a real game changer for the department in the way that they go after suspects. Finally, tonight, a woman hiking in Southern California came face to face with a mountain lion and captured the encounter on camera.
No. Thank you. Oh my God.
This all happened last week in the Los Padres National Forest in Ventura County. In that video, of course, you can hear the woman repeatedly yelling at the big cat to go away. The mountain lion eventually did go away, walking off into the brush. And of course, the woman was okay. Obviously, a bit shaken up by all of that, but thankfully unhurt there. And you even heard in the video, she thanked the mountain lion for going another direction. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching as always. And a quick reminder before we go tonight that you can stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering for you across the West Coast at our website, westcoastwrap.com. We'll leave you with this gorgeous shot of downtown Seattle tonight. Have a great one.